Hey guys, so in today's video I'm going to show you how to make this Rapunzel inspired flower nightlight. I made this for my baby's nursery, which is a Rapunzel themed nursery. It's really cute and it's super easy. All you're really going to need is a hot glue gun and some other supplies. So let's get started. In addition to your hot glue gun, you're also going to need a small battery pack operated LED strand. I get mine from Amazon and I'll have them linked in the description box below. Some green moss, which most Dollar Trees do sell. So you're going to need one of these glass domes. I got mine from Hobby Lobby and it's sold in 2 pieces. Altogether it was about $15–16, but I did use a coupon. You will also need a yellow lily. These ones are from Dollar Tree, but the one I ended up using was smaller and I already had it. It is from Hobby Lobby and I think that they still sell them. And then you'll also need some gold wire. I got this floral wire from Dollar Tree. You are also going to need some purple puffy paint, and this is the first step in the process. So you're going to take the purple puffy paint and kind of make these little lines in the center of the flower. If you see some zoomed in shots of the flower from Tangled, it does have a purple design on the inside. I kept mine really simple and just kind of made it look like the color was growing into the petals. I did one coat, let it dry, and then went back in and did a second coat. I do highly suggest letting all of the coats dry, but I was a little impatient and didn't. And then I went in with this glitter glue puffy paint just to give it some sparkle. This is not required, but they do sell this at Dollar Tree if you're wanting to add a little bit of glitter. And I also added a little bit of the glitter paint onto the center part of the flower. I forgot what these are called, but yeah. So next I bent the stem of my flower, applied some hot glue to the bottom of it, and then pressed it down onto the base of my glass dome. And of course I tried to center the flower as best I could. You also want to make sure you measure out your flower before you glue it down because you don't want it to be too tall or too short for the glass dome that you purchased, depending on the size. So now you can take your gold wire, and you are probably going to need some wire cutters. It's very soft wire, but it does just make it easier this way as opposed to trying to use scissors. And then you're going to curl the wire. So you can just curve it around like this and just make these kind of swoopy shapes. But what I preferred to do was to actually take like a pen or a pencil and wrap the wire around it. This looked a little bit closer to what it looks like in the movie to me, so I would suggest doing this. And then once you have it kind of curled, you just pull it and give it the shape that you're wanting it to have. So once you have your wires done, I did check them with the flower. Obviously I went back and put them in, but just to make sure that they were the right size and length. And then I applied a little bit of hot glue on the bottom and just kind of stuck them into the center of the flower, and they stuck really good. So this is what one looked like, and then I went ahead and went in with the second and the third. This is why it was important to let your paint dry totally, because my paint was still wet at this point. It did still work, but obviously patience is usually better. So you are going to go in with moss and cover up the base of the dome, but before you do that, you actually are going to want to position your lights, which I'm going to show you right about now. And then I'll go back and do the moss. If you wanted to, you could actually hide the light switch underneath the moss inside of it, but I didn't like this because if the batteries died, then you really wouldn't have an efficient way of replacing them. So I decided just to glue down some of the wire onto the base of the dome and leave the light switch outside of the light. This made it more efficient as an actual nightlight for my baby's nursery. So after you've glued down just a little bit of the wire to make sure that it stays in place, then you're going to take your lighting and wrap it around the flower stem. And you want to wrap it pretty tight so that when you turn it on, it looks like it's actually a part of the flower. Then I took it and I actually applied some hot glue to the bottom of the leaf and glued the wire onto the leaf. This is to make the leaves look like they are actually lighting up as opposed to just lights being around the flower. It's like part of the flower. You will have to fold the wire and kind of turn it on and check to make sure you like how it looks, but the good news is if you glue it in the wrong place, you can peel it off and kind of reposition it. The wire also bends really nicely to make the leaves look more like they do in the movie, as opposed to these fake leaves. So then after you've gotten it onto both leaves, you're going to continue your way up the stem. By the way, I did actually have to like glue the wire going toward the leaf and then kind of fold it back, going back toward the stem. Then continue wrapping around the stem, and you will have to kind of mess with it just to make sure the bulbs aren't funky when you do it. And then the trickiest part is going to be this next section. So you're going to want to glue a little bit of the wire to each petal of the flower, because this is what gives it like that magical, it's lighting up quality that makes it look like the flower from Rapunzel. So what I did with mine is I actually like twisted it to make the wire shorter and make sure that I had a bulb on each flower. And then I applied a little bit of hot glue to the wire, not the bulb, and then just pressed the petal down into it. Again, the cool thing about doing this is that you're actually able to then bend the petal and give it more of that Rapunzel flower shape. I'm trying to give you more of a zoomed in shot here of exactly what I'm doing, but I'm basically just taking the wire and bending it together and pressing it really tight. And you are going to have a lot of excess wire, so you are going to definitely want to wrap whatever you don't really need poking out. And then apply a little bit of hot glue to just the wire and press the flower petal down onto it. And then I just continued this method all the way around the flower. Feel free to skip ahead about 30 seconds if you've kind of got the gist of this. So once you've glued your lights onto each petal, then you can reposition the petals as you like. And what I did is I took the extra lighting strand that I had left over and I just kind of encircled the flower to make it look like there was kind of like magic coming off of it, if that makes sense. And then I just repositioned the petals to make them look how I wanted, and this is what it looked like all lit up. So now I'm going to go ahead and go in and finish covering the bottom of the base with the moss. And this part's super simple. Just use little bits of hot glue. I did end up gluing down a little more of the wire and covering it up with moss. The coolest part about doing all this is that I had a couple of lights on the base of the dome, so the moss actually looked like it was lighting up. So now it kind of looks like the roots under the grass are lighting up as well. I hope you guys liked this tutorial and found it really helpful. If you guys have any questions or suggestions for future videos, leave them in the comments below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!